Hey guys, and welcome back to another interview. As you can see, I am joined by Patitek, one of the newest members of Team Liquid. How you doing? You been enjoying your time so far?
Hello, thank you for having me. Enjoying my time so far. I mean, maybe not now because it's 10 a.m., but things will get better. But yeah, overall, feeling pretty good.
Well, as always, I like to go back in these interviews, and I wanted to ask you just a little bit about how you got started in gaming. Like, what was the first game you played, and maybe what was the first game you played competitively?
For me, the first game that I played was like League of Legends that I tried to go competitively, but
Okay.
competitively I was playing CS:GO, and that was like the start for me with everything related, like FPS related. Um, Basically, grinding CS:GO. Started playing it in like 2013. Um, Played it until 2020 because I had to switch because I was banned. But we'll get to that probably.
Well, that was what I was gonna sort of go into because like obviously in CS or CS:GO specifically, the Polish scene was very good. Like I was looking back, and you kind of have those memories of teams, and like especially like XCOM, Izako Boars. Those are a couple of the Polish teams that you played for. And they were like solid. Like there was definitely a path for you to make it to the tier one. I don't think there was really too much doubt there. So what was the reason that you ended up switching?
For me, main reason that I ended up switching was because of the ban. Honestly, I was thinking that this ban was kind of holding me back a lot because
Hmm.
I remember in 2017 when I was playing in Valorant, I got an offer from the Polish team Kingwin at the time, and it
Oh
was
yeah.
like and it was like the second best Polish team after Virtus Pro, obviously.
Yeah.
But I had to decline the offer because I knew that I have a VAC ban, but they didn't know at the time. So imagine me accepting the offer, signing the contract, playing one major qualifier with them. We get
Yeah.
disqualified, and it's like a complete shit show, you know. So yeah. Answering your question, it would be just the ban was holding me, you know. And I said to myself that I'm gonna switch to Valorant. If I don't succeed and if I don't make it to the top, as some say, then I'm just gonna, go university, like go the normal route. Some would say.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that ban has been lifted, right? That's
Yes,
no
yes.
longer a thing. Was it one of those like because I genuinely don't know the story of your ban. Was it one of those classic like you were a kid, you did it in matchmaking sort of thing?
Yes.
Yeah, so the
Legit,
bullshit
legit.
bans. The
Yes, yes.
because there was a few, but didn't was does Yumpy had a similar thing, right? Was
Yep.
and I think even Simple had a similar thing, but like yeah, I think that was one of those rules that I think Valve very quickly sort of diminished, but it did screw a few people's careers. So
Yep.
that is unfortunate. Well, you've answered the question of why you switched to Valorant. I'll say though, you're like almost immediately you were straight into like the best team. You played Twitch Rivals, then the G2 Invitational, and then you were on G2. How did that whole sort of thing come about? Because it from our perspective, it was super quick how fast they were into the scene and how fast your team was the best.
So basically, I think like the CS players got the edge at the beginning of Valorant because it was similar to CS in a way that like there weren't many abilities and agents like we have right
Yeah.
now. Um, so it was much easier to kind of adapt from CS to Valorant, and we just had the edge. But when it comes to like me and G2, I just remember like playing against Mixwell, and like I dropped I think 30 or 40 bomb on him on Haven or on Ascent, I can't remember, and he was like, okay, let's duo with him because that's how he was trying people into the
Yeah.
team, you know. He was like inviting people to do, and he invited me. I played with him, and then like Carlos messaged me, and everything is just history.
Well, yeah, that you kind of answered this already, but like the initial roster was basically like either ex CS pros or people who had played CS to like a decent level.
Yep.
Is that the reason you think they did so well straight off the bat? Is just having some core skills already there, like some team play skills, some aim in general, and a lot of other people were just not there yet.
100%, because I think like when you play CS, you kind of learn those things throughout your career when
Yeah.
you play, right? Like to pick off each other, to like have good aim actually, because people are grinding that much, aimbots or whatever they play in CS. So That definitely helps to have the edge over the new players in Valorant because maybe some of the players have no background in esports and it's their first game. So at the beginning, yes, it was really helpful to be from CS because it was helping you. But as time progresses and as time goes on, the gap between like the new players and the players that switch from CS to Valorant, it got much smaller with each year.
Well, yeah. What I was going to ask just before, like, we move on to what happened afterwards. What was that period like for you? Because that G2 team, correct me if I'm wrong, won every single Ignition event. It was probably one of the most dominant teams in history, but it was so long ago. I think people sort
Yeah.
of don't talk about it as much. But like, what was that like being on that team and just going, "Hey, we won that event, we won this event, we won that," and it's just kept going.
I mean, it was a crazy feeling actually because we were playing every official, and we weren't like tryharding really in a sense. I mean, we were tryharding, but the mood in the team was that we are just having so much fun. Everyone was joking around, everyone was just enjoying the game, and I think, yeah, that made it feel like I don't know. No one is better than us at this moment, and probably the CS Edge at the beginning that we mentioned earlier.
Mm.
But yeah, mm, it was so long ago that people don't actually look at it. And honestly, myself, I don't look at it as well. It was a nice time, to
Yeah.
be winning every tournament in the beginning of the game. But as time goes on, people get better, people adapt. And if you don't adapt, then you fall behind. And that's what happened with us, especially in that team.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna say that from that point, well, at that point, I feel like Valorant was incredibly cutthroat, and after I think it was First Strike, that team kind of fell apart, like changed
Yeah.
massively. Was it difficult for you from going from that mass success to then just try and bounce back? Because I think it was right around the time that sort of like international started to be played, and that was when you were dropped.
Yeah. Also, that's another thing. When we were winning everything, it was a COVID era, so we couldn't go
Yeah.
really to LANs, and everything was online played. But going back to your question, it was hard for me because I mean, you get used to winning for like 1 year and a half of the team. You basically win everything. Some losses here and there in field strike, but you think to yourself, okay, we're gonna just grind ourselves up. No roster changes. But then, two roster changes happened. Then I went to Heretics after G2. And it was all downhill from there, honestly. Like, it was kind of hard to pick back up, like myself, especially,
Mm.
because, you get used to winning. Then you get switched back, uh, basically getting backstabbed from the team because they said that we're going to build around you and Mixwell. That's what they said.
Wow.
But they didn't. So esports stuff. These things happen on a daily basis with teams and with players. I wasn't really upset about it, but it still hurt somewhere, right?
Mm.
But yeah, it was hard. It was hard. It was really hard, actually.
Well, I was going to look at the next couple of rosters you had. Like, you were with Heretics and you were with XL. I would say both teams had the sort of caliber of players to
Yeah.
succeed. Like, you're talking like Chihuahua, Mo40, Element, Aussie, Monster, Alorante, Almiwa. Like, if anybody who's watched anything over the last few years, you should know at least some of those names. What do you believe kind of went wrong with those teams? Because I think especially that initial like Heretics roster, people are looking at that going, okay, they're going to get to tier 1 fairly quick.
Mm, I think, especially in Heretics, in the first iteration in 2021, with me are this Amilwa, Lowell, and Monster, right?
Yeah.
Or Alorante somewhere along the line. I think that roster just lacked experience
Okay.
and like big time experience. And you know how you have like CS teams that are playing together. I don't know, maybe like 2 years, maybe 2.5 years. Um, it builds the team and it builds you experience the team. And when you are playing in a team like this in CS, you don't need to learn the basics. In that team in Heretics, we had to learn actually everything from the bottom. And to get into tier 1, you need to focus on other things rather than teaching players how to play from the beginning. Like this basic that like, okay, don't overpick, don't pick. You need to say this when you are lurking. Like this generic stuff that people learn when they play the game. But we had new players, so
Yeah.
yeah, the experience factor was huge. And in Excel, um, honestly, I think we just kind of choked every time we
Okay.
went. every time we went into VRL finals at the time, we were owning the Polaris League, right? But every time we went to the higher tournament, the VRL finals, we just choked, we just choked. Like the game versus Surreal Esports on Icebox, I remember many overtimes. Yeah, it was just a shit show as well. Like we were just choking, Like I thought that we are better than this, that much, much, much better than this, and I think the potential of the Excel team wasn't met. But yeah, we were just choking, and maybe also experience, but not in that same way like in Heretics.
Yeah. So after playing with G2, you played with Heretics, XL, Bratan Mix, the Ultimates,
Yeah.
Incognito, Diamant, and Kase. Looking at those teams, which would you say like was most likely in your mind to succeed? Because there's a lot of like looking at Incognito, you had Kayak and Profek, obviously both now tier 1. Bratan Mix, Alive, Doma, Foxy, like all names that we know. The most recent Kase roster as well looked like a solid roster on paper.
Um, for me, I think the team that I was looking at the most was Diamant to succeed.
Okay.
I think all of these other teams, I mean, I look at every team that I play that I can succeed in and that my players are the best in the world in my team. Because I think
Yeah.
that's how you need to think when you are playing professionally. You need to think just you are the best and your teammates are the best. That's it. So when I was playing like in Incognito and all that stuff, these were the teams that kinda I treated as a time to rebuild myself and to kinda learn what I need to do to reach tier 1, I kinda went back. I started at the top, then I went complete bottom, and then I was like, kind of stepping up. And I think the Incognito step was kind of very important to me, playing with the Polish guys. I think I learned a lot, and especially the time in Diamant and Casa before, right? I think those are the teams that are actually helped me also become a better player. And in my opinion, sometimes you gotta take 6 steps back to make 10 steps forward, And I think that's my case, especially like after playing in all of these teams and getting a chance in Heretics and yeah, Liquid now.
But that was actually going to lead me into my next question, which was, do you believe over the last 2 years in tier 2 you've improved massively as a player, or you just were not getting the right opportunities at that time?
Oh, I definitely improved. I'm not that person that I mean, the opportunities also, there was a thing back then where tier 1 teams wouldn't let me trial with them for some reason. I don't know. Maybe people thought I'm toxic. Maybe, whatever the reason was, I don't really care. I don't look at the opportunity. I was always looking at improvement of what I can bring to the team and if I'm a valuable asset to the team, right?
Yeah.
And I think over the last 2 years, I think I become much, much, much better as a player and especially as a human. And yeah, I think that helped me a lot to like kind of prepare myself for the chance when it comes to not fuck it up,
Yeah. But that's now, before we get to the Heretics, there are a lot of people still on that grind. So if there's a piece of advice, as someone who's been at the top, gone back down, and now come back up again, what would your advice be to those players in the tier 2 to make it to that tier 1 scene?
Actually, just stay true to yourself and don't kind of don't have clubs on your eyes, Like you should open yourself. I mean, you should see yourself from another point of view, in my opinion, and keep playing keep playing. Keep playing. Don't surrender. Don't switch other games. Don't go. I mean, people are retiring like a lot from Valorant, and I'm not
Yeah.
surprised because of the tier 2 scene, right? It was much much better. It was in much better state 2 years ago than it is now. So I'm not surprised people are retiring. But that piece of advice would be just stay grinding, and look at yourself from another perspective. Don't stay inside that little box,
Yeah. I think that's good advice. Now, 2024 came around. I think the opportunity that came up is one that maybe not everyone would have accepted. Like, it was one where you basically knew that you were standing in for a bit, and then you, especially with the tier 2, you might not have a spot to go back to in a solid team. So Was that something that you thought about when accepting the Heretics offer? That like, okay, this is a bit of a gamble because I know that Woot is going to come back into the team in like a few months.
It definitely was a gamble for me, but it was a gamble in favor to me, because if I know that if I'm gonna join them and play really good and show
Mm.
myself that I'm actually capable of playing at tier 1 level, um, then it shouldn't be a problem to find an offer, right? Technically, that's what I
Yeah,
thought.
true.
So I thought to myself, yeah, it's a gamble, but it's a gamble in a way that like it's 60-40 towards me, right? But also, it was at the time where Heretics wasn't that good, guys.
Yes.
Like it was at the time where people were putting Heretics on D tier list, and no one was expecting us to, I don't
Yeah.
know, to win one game at least in the kickoff, right? So it was a gamble. But yeah, in my way, in my eyes, it was 60-40. But in other ways, like people might have looked at it at like, yeah, it's a huge gamble because maybe he's not that good of a player, and they are not also good at team. Let's see, let's see.
Well, that was the thing. You sort of said it. It's like Boo had as bad of a 2023 as it could have gone as an IGL.
Yeah,
Everyone else on that team was an up and coming tier 2 player, and then there was you. So did you look at that and go, okay, is this team going to be good? Like, what were your expectations of the roster? Because, as you said, for everybody else doing tier lists and looking from the outside, they've gone, okay, Heretics are building a project that's going to last 3 years. You had 3 months.
yeah. Um, how cool? Oh fuck! I mean, I wasn't looking really at the roster in a way that like, I mean, I was looking at it in a different way. I was always looking at what I can bring myself, like from myself to the team, and
Mm.
I don't know, maybe make them better, or maybe see them how they work, how they react, how they communicate, to improve myself. So I wasn't really thinking about the roster, about the roles, about how it's gonna go. I was thinking about just playing with them, enjoying the chance that I got, living in Berlin, playing on stage, and yeah, and I just thought to myself, let me play the games on stage, and the rest I'll figure it out.
Yeah. So it's more about the opportunity and less
Yeah,
about success and whatever
yeah,
was going to come with it.
100% about the opportunity.
So I wanted to then ask, what was it that Neil sort of said to you coming into that scenario? Because obviously your role was to sort of fit wherever the team needed. Was that said to you at the beginning, like, I need you to be this guy?
No, 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 they didn't say to me anything like that. They just said that like, you have a chance here as a stand-in. You're gonna play up until this point. Are you gonna take it? We really want you. I
Mm.
think you're gonna be a great fit. And I said yes, and that's it basically. They didn't really put much emphasis that I'm the sixth man.
Okay.
I was putting this emphasis on myself, because when I joined the team, I was like this guy that, okay, I'm not gonna say anything. Like, let's say, for example, someone overpicked in scrims, right? I would
Mm.
be the person to like go on the VOD review and say, no need to pick there. In Heretics, I wasn't doing that because I thought it's not my place to do that things, because I'm an outsider. I'm coming
Yeah.
in to help them, so I'm not gonna be like, kinda. I don't even know how to say it, because yeah, it just wouldn't be good for me to like say what they need to do coming as a six and as an outsider when
Mm.
they made a team already.
Yeah, it's sort of like walking into someone else's home and telling them how
Yeah,
to design it. Like you did,
basically.
you
Yes,
didn't want to do that.
exactly. Yeah.
So going into kickoff, I want to know what your expectation was, because I imagine practice with the team was probably fairly minimal. Was there any point in your head where you were like, we can make an international with this team, or was that as much a surprise to you as everyone else?
Now we thought I thought we could make an international 100%, especially after because you said we had little practice. I mean, we had a lot of practice, honestly.
Oh, okay.
Coming back from the beginning of the January towards the start of kickoff, we were playing a lot.
Okay.
We're grinding from 11 a.m. Until 10 p.m. in office.
That's
Like we were really putting in the hours, and I also really liked it actually, the schedule in there. With living in the Berlin and biking sometimes 40 minutes to the office, you know. I didn't mind that, honestly. It was fine, you know. But after the practice, after those 2 months that I spent with them, I noticed that, like, okay, we are playing insane in practice. We have insane win ratio on scrims. If we can actually reproduce that in officials, then wow, like there's no one is gonna beat us, you know. And we kind of did that, honestly. But the real thought that we could actually make it to internationals and like perform at a high level was when we qualified to Madrid. I think that was the indicator of everything. I mean, most of the things.
So obviously you played with those guys for, as you said, practiced a lot beforehand. Who was the first player that stood out to you and you went, oh shit, this guy is like something special. He's going to be a superstar?
Oh, I think you know who I'm gonna bring up. Benji, 100%.
Okay. You say I
Benji.
know who you're going to bring out, like Riens and Wu, and like, no, I don't. You could have picked anyone.
I mean, they're all insane, you know. I think
Yeah.
like if I had to pick, like, I cannot pick one person because the others will get you know, sad or you know, whatever. But yeah, I think Benji. I think the first impression he made on me was his work ethic, him being professional, the comms that the way he was giving the comms in game and outside of the game, how he was just you know, a chill guy to be around.
Mm.
Yeah, he really like kinda inspired me in a way also. I mean, I think everyone in that team inspired me. That's what also helped me a lot, and I learned a lot from them. That I looked at them how they work, and I said to myself, I was never doing that. Why? You know, why?
Yeah.
Why am I starting so late? Why am I doing these things so late? Like, if I would be doing the things they are doing right now, like 5 or 6 years ago, it would be a
Mm.
completely different story. Like, why did I see these things? You know. So like that was also a realization that like their work ethic and the system that they built and everything is just good to be in, you know. It's
Mm.
enjoyable, and the only thing you need to be doing is grinding the game and staying up to meta, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, looking at that team from the outside, it felt more like a family than a team. Like it was just everybody seemed to get on fantastic. Is that something you believe you helped bring, or is it just like this team was something special?
Nah, this team was something special. I think I maybe bring a bit after kickoff and maybe in Madrid, and especially in Shanghai when I went to them.
Mm.
But like the base was already there, like the family was already there when I joined them, and you could see it like how they socialize outside of the game, you know, in office. They play ping pong, they talk all the time, they laugh. It's just a really nice environment to be in, you know.
Yeah.
And I might have helped that, but the base was already there when I joined. It was already a family, you know.
Okay. So obviously we sort of mentioned it earlier. You played big events in Valorant, but was sort of dropped just before those internationals really kicked off. Like it went to LAN. What did it mean to you to make it to Madrid and be back at the top? Patitek has done it.
I mean, it felt incredible, actually incredible, because it's a tier 1 event, an international event. And to qualify into those events, you need to beat basically everyone in EO, all of the best teams, right? And
Mm.
for the qualification game, we played Navi. And like Navi, it was an insane team, right?
Yeah.
And when we actually beat them, um, I don't know, it was a huge sign of relief for me as well. That like, okay, even as a 6-man playing with the boys, I can still manage to qualify into tier 1 events when the opportunity is given.
Yeah.
So when I realized that, I was like, fuck, you know, after all these years of me like dreaming about playing on stages like this, because I mean that's the esports dreams, right? Every player strives to play on stages like this, and when we actually made that and we qualified for the Madrid, a sign of relief, and just an insane experience.
Mm. Now, obviously, unfortunately, Madrid was a fairly short trip. You lost to the two of the top three teams, so it was kind of a rough
Yeah.
one. I remember looking at the next event and going, I think people are going to be surprised. But what was it like knowing that kind of like a few games after that Woot was going to be stepping in? Did it feel like a missed opportunity to not be able to achieve more in Madrid?
Oh yeah, definitely. And those two Madrid games, the first one versus Sentinels, it was a fun game. But the second game versus PaperX, that was a real bad stinker for me of a game on Madrid, you know? Like that game, I went -29 and I just couldn't do anything, you know? And I think actually like the stress, I think, got to me. It was already getting to me on the first game because, you know, first international game you play on stage like this, I thought I'm not gonna be nervous, but fuck me, the nerves got to me, you know?
Mm.
And I think it's only natural, you know, that nerves got to you and it's how you control them. I managed them pretty well versus Sentinels. I couldn't manage them at all versus PaperX, and it showed. So I was really disappointed in myself in a way that I tried helping them qualify, but I also wanted to give them a good result in Madrid, you know, because it's the first international event. I know I'm not gonna be playing after because Wood will jump in.
Mm.
So I want to give them a good lasting impression for them and especially for myself, you know.
Yeah.
But I didn't manage to do that, and I had a complete stinker, and I was like, "Oh no, it's happening again! Oh no!" You know, playing like a complete dog. But yeah, then Shanghai happened. But you know, you probably have a question with that.
Oh, we definitely have questions about that.
Yeah.
You sort of said it. From after that moment, okay, I think there was maybe one or two matches, but people sort of saw, okay, that's the end of the story. But when did you find out that you would be attending Shanghai? Again, like what was that like? Because that must have been one hell of a shock.
It was a shock. When Wood came back to the roster, they played the stage 2. Yeah, they played the
Yeah.
stage 2. And they qualified to Shanghai. And I remember like just watching the games back at home, you know, sitting with my agent on TeamSpeak and like joking that, look, maybe something happens and maybe I will fly to Shanghai, you know, like in a joking manner that it will never happen, you know.
Yeah.
But then like 2 days goes by, and then my agent messages me that like, okay, pack up, you're going to Berlin to get the visa to China, and I'm like, oh shit, you know, let's go. But I said let's go, but I was really worried that I might repeat the stinker from Madrid in Shanghai, you know. So it was like, hell yeah, another opportunity, but fuck me if I shit the bed again. That's a wrap, you know. Like we need to wrap it up after if I shit the bed. We go McDonald's or something, you know. But yeah, the feeling was insane. Like when I got a call, I was like, my heart started pounding really fast. I was super excited to meet them again, and especially to go to China because I really want to travel the world around, you know, and like
Mm.
going to those continents, especially to Asia and China of all places, and Shanghai. You know, it's just a great experience.
Yeah. Now, obviously, I think people know how that story went. You are arguably the greatest stand-in in Valorant history. I think
Woo!
it's between you and CGRS. I don't think anyone else even makes the conversation at that
Yeah.
point. I think you had the second most assists at the whole event and top 4 in like assists per round. Was that the sort of like sigh of relief? You sort of said like the previous event you were like fuck, but now I think that was pretty much you knowing you were signed for next year, right? It had to be.
Um, I didn't think that. I didn't think that because I already think that like in 2022 after Excel, I thought that I'm gonna get signed after
Mm.
playing in Excel because I thought we are a good team. I didn't get signed. So after Shanghai, I was like, okay, we did a really good result. I think I showed myself from a good point of you know of view to the other teams. Let's see what's gonna happen. I have a pretty good shot at getting signed, but let's see. You know, I'm not gonna be overconfident. I'm not gonna ego things. I'm gonna just stay in
Yeah.
my line and wait for the opportunities to come. And when they come, then I need to show that like I'm actually capable of playing in and having my own spot in the team, right?
Mm.
But yeah, I didn't think that it was gonna be 100% guaranteed. I just thought that I'm in a good spot and I need to use it as well.
So at that event, you beat EDG, who then won champs,
Yeah.
for 100 Thieves and G2. Was there ever a moment where you were like, maybe they should keep me?
um, Honestly, I mean, maybe there was like 1 or 2 times where I thought about it, you know,
Yeah.
like to be completely honest with you. But I never really like think in a way that like, yeah, I really want to stay in that team, you know,
Mm.
like because I know that they have their own plan and they have own family. I'm just glad that I got the opportunity and that I got to know them personally because they are really good. They are really good friends, really good humans, you know, like these people are just nice to be around, and even to this day, I'm still talking to some of them, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, like when I was in Istanbul right now, like I went to hang out with Rians, and like that boy will be my brother forever, you know, until the end of my life. So
Mm.
yeah, I would never say that like I really wanted to stay in the team, because you know they gave me the chance, I took it. I gave my everything from myself, from my side to them.
Mm.
It was a nice time. Let's move on. You know, you guys do your own thing. Now I do my own thing.
So it might actually be one of my favorite images in all of esports, which I think says a lot, is the image of you looking back to the Shanghai stage. I think it was one that went crazy all over Reddit, Twitter, whatever.
Yeah.
Do you remember what you were thinking about in that moment? Because it's a devastating image, but it's also a very like sick image as well.
I thought to myself that I'm gonna like imprint this moment in my brain when they are picking up the championship, the trophy, right?
Mm,
To not let that happen again when I'm gonna be in the grand final. That's what
fair.
was my thought process, you know. So I had to look at them and imprint that. I don't think many players would be capable of doing that after, especially
Oh
losing
no.
3-2 in a grand final. But I
Yeah,
thought to myself, yeah, like if I didn't win, then I need to remember this moment, so so it doesn't happen again, you know. Um, that was basically the thought process of the photo. But
fair.
one hell of a sick photo, though.
It is a
I must
really
say.
sick photo. I wanted to ask just before we move on to the future, is there anything you regret within your time at Team Heretics? Because as said, I think it was something that looked like it almost built your career back to the top. You had some incredible moments, but I just wondered if there was anything you went, okay, I'd change that if I could.
I think no. Though obviously there would be some things that I would change, like me being sometimes more egoistical and not thinking about the team all the time, and like actually
Mm,
playing for myself, and like, you know, flashing for myself and using utility in game for myself more. So like being egoistical in a way.
yeah,
But I wouldn't change nothing, honestly. It was a really great time. I had an amazing curva time there. I legit, like, it was just best like 3 or 4 months of my life, career wise, you know.
yeah,
Like it was just the perfect team you could imagine, like everyone being professional, everyone being on time, everyone playing the game, everyone laughing, everyone just having a good time, you know.
yeah.
There's nothing you can ask for like this, you know. Wouldn't change a thing about this.
And just the last Heretics based question. Is there any person specifically you think deserves a shout out on that team? Be it like one of the players or be it staff or whatever for just like the everything that happened?
Reyes, 100%. I still
Mm.
feel like people look at him that he's underrated. Maybe not after champions, because he fucking popped off there.
Yeah.
But yeah, people tend to look under Enes and not up on him, and I
Mm.
think he's one of the greatest players at this moment in Valorant at the age of 19 or 20 or whatever he is, this guy.
Yeah.
Um, but he's just insane. Like, and it's not even about the aim. The way he communicates and the way he does the micro plays in certain situations, it's really fucking good. And it all comes down to like those little small moments, you know. But he's always at the right time in the right moment, you know.
Yeah.
And it's for everyone at the Team Heretics. They everyone have the this. And I would also say shout out to Boo also, because what this guy has been doing with them is also insane. The way he's managing them, the way he's acting like a real leader, a captain, you know, an
Yeah.
IGL. Um, like the way he anti-stratted 100 thieves, or like every team in Shanghai with having 1 day off, so basically like 24 hours to take the comp, make some strats and understand the thought process of the comp and how to play against it. To do that in like, I don't know, maybe 12, 13 hours,
Mm.
and then the next day to play the game and absolutely own 100 thieves with their comp. Um, like for me, it's crazy, you know, and I've never seen something like this. And it goes under the radar because you don't show these moments when
Yeah.
people are doing these things. These things are really important, and that's what the team needs, and that's what the team like has is been built around.
Yeah. I'd say from any conversation I've had with him, he almost has a scary level of intelligence. Like, I like
Yes,
talking to him, but you kind
definitely.
of go like, fuck, I feel like this guy could make me like do things that I don't want to do. Like, just
Yeah,
by just talking to you,
100%.
like hypnotize you or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
he's really intelligent.
he is, yeah. So, getting onto, I think, the bit that a lot of people will want to talk about. To nobody's surprise, maybe you said you weren't expecting it, but like, you became a permanent fixture for Team Liquid. Did you play a lot of trials, or was it quite a sort of quick process of okay, I'm a Liquid player now?
I played a lot of trials. Yeah, I had trials in like 3 or 4 VCT teams actually. Yeah,
Hmm.
and yeah, I'm not gonna leak anything.
No, no, no.
But I had an offer. I had an offer ready from America, from NA,
Oh,
and
damn.
then yes, and then an offer came from Liquid a day later.
Hmm.
So I was about to take the NA offer, but then Liquid came back to me and said, "Yo, we want you." So I was like, "Hmm, NA or Liquid?" I mean, NA is nice, LA, LA chilling,
Hmm.
sunshine, streaming also, good money. But I still rather prefer um, playing in EU,
Hmm.
living in Germany, and for me also it was a matter of which what I feel like is the better team, and I chose Liquid because I felt like with the coaching staff plus not switching to IGL and me seeing him how professional he is and how he approaches the IGL swap, um, I just chose Liquid.
Fair. So the org is known for some of the biggest moves in Valorant. I think you mentioned Nats. I think like in the past, Safe, Scream. Do you feel added pressure in this scenario, knowing that there are expectations and those expectations are about as high as they could get?
Um, I think there are expectations because we are playing in Team Liquid, so
Yes.
like the expectations are already from the bottom, like they are already on top of you.
Yeah.
Because you just play in Liquid, you gotta show that Liquid has best rosters in every game almost. Not in Valorant, so it's our job to make them best in Valorant.
Yeah.
So I can feel some pressure added to that. But honestly, the other side of the coin is that everyone is putting us in the RT list. No one is expecting us to perform. We can just do our own thing, being the underdogs. When
Mm.
when
Hey,
approaching
I put you
kickoff.
top 6 in my tier list.
Oh
That's
hell
where you
yeah!
are in mine.
Okay, thank you. And yeah, we are gonna be underdogs, and I think it also helps a lot when playing stage games, because as Heretics in kickoff in the beginning of the year, we're also the underdogs, and I remember them saying that like, no added pressure, guys. We are the underdogs. We don't need to show them anything. They need to show us. We can
Yeah.
show them, but we don't need to. You know, and I think with the same mindset we're gonna approach playing on stage with Liquid, and yeah, we're gonna see. We're at a point where just when we're gonna practice and we're gonna stay true to the grind, as some would say,
Yeah.
the results will come. Because you need to be inputting like good hours and good practice for the results to come in.
Hmm. Well, obviously, for those who don't know, you've been living under a rock, the team is Camo, Kamek, Kiko, already a nice little triplet there, and of course, Nats. I wanted to
Yeah.
ask who you're most excited to play with on this team, because I want to know if there's maybe some Polish bias, or if it is just like, hey, it's cool to play with Nats.
I always wanted to play with Nats and Kiko. Honestly, like I had
Mm.
two chances to play with Kiko. I think one in Apex and then one in Liquid when he joined. I got Shrazer and they didn't pick me up unfortunately at the time, but I always wanted to play with him because I thought
Mm.
that he's a really good player. And also with Nats, I wanted to see that mastermind lurker, and now
Yeah.
IGL in action, and I'm seeing this every day right now, and I couldn't ask for more, honestly.
Hey, yeah, you've gone from playing with Benji to Nats. You're doing well with your
Yeah,
Sentinel players, I'll put it that way.
yeah.
What about playing with a Polish core? Like, does that make it more exciting for you, knowing that you've got like it basically is? Well, they should have a Polish flag next to their name at this stage.
Um, I think I don't really look at it. I mean, it's nice to have three people that are from the same country,
Mm.
like we are from Poland, but it's also helpful that like when we are doing VOD reviews, I can say something in Polish to them and they will understand it instantly, right?
Yeah.
So like when I see something that they shouldn't be doing or that they did something good, I'm gonna be like, yo, hell yeah, let's go, in Polish. But let's see how this gonna pans out, because I remember people saying that like there's a limit for Polish players, and it's two Polish players. There's a limit to Polish players in teams. That two is
Yeah.
maximum, three is
Yes.
going
Yeah.
overboard. And I think everyone knows this. So we'll see how it's gonna go, right? Maybe we will be against the odds and we will swap the to three. But
Mm.
yeah, we will see. But I'm in a good how do you say it? I'm in a good spirit when it comes to that.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, like, there are exceptions. Legendary Virtus Pro. I don't think anybody could say that that team had
Yeah.
too many Polish players. So you could be that as well. You mentioned it already. Nats being that IGL of this team. It's something that I think people are definitely looking at. From your perspective so far, do you think he has what it takes? I guess is the question.
100%. This is the most professional player I've ever met. And I'm playing
Okay.
already
Yeah.
almost 10 years of esports, and this is the most professional player I've ever met. The way he approaches the game, the way he approaches the life also is
Mm.
on an insane level. Everything has a reason for what he's doing. Everything is thought out. And him switching to the IGL role, it's also him learning how he can approach the game in a different way, and also learn about himself, to how to be a captain and how to act like a captain in that
Yeah.
IGL in game, right? Because people need to look at you and people need to have respect for you in a team environment when you are IGL, and especially a captain. You need to be that captain figure. You need to stand above players in some situations where you need to spank them because they're trolling scrims, or when you need to spank them on stage when they are also trolling runs.
Mm.
So yeah, I would say that like Nas has been really impressive with the way he's doing things, and he also has a really good coaching staff behind him to help him get on that role, to learn all the macro and all the reactions. So yeah, it's a pretty good setup we have at Liquid. Not gonna lie, now that I look at
It
it.
sounds it. Well, yeah, that's another. I think that was one of the more surprising things in terms of the pickups. Was you mentioned the coaching staff in Lohan, obviously coming up from the tier two. I think this will be someone who a lot of people don't know a massive amount about. So, like, again, like, what do you think of him going? Obviously, you've gone from the Neil Zinio Weber show to now him and Yeltsin. Like, what would you say are the sort of like parallels or differences?
I think the differences is like obviously the systems that we're doing things and approaching things. I think what are the main differences? That's a really good question because I didn't really think about it. And when I would say, I think for Yeltsin is that he's really he would work 26 hours out of 24 in a day.
Oh
He's
God.
like he's that guy he's that guy, he's
Mm.
that person that would like to always work and always be, putting piles of work. And sometimes we need to say to him, chill out.
Sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Sleep, just chill, do something else. And I think like when we have Yeltsin, and then it's Lohan more chilled out, more like okay, boys, behave like that, kind of a fagger figurish,
Mm.
in a way, kind of controlling and sticking everyone together, and also like being in control of the comms and like how we approach the macro as well. It's
Mm.
like oh yeah, now that I actually think about it, the main difference between Nilsini and Weber and Lohan and Yeltsin is that on scrims, Lohan and Yeltsin are pausing million times to like explain, or like if we trolled around, to
Yeah.
say that like we could have played this in a different way, or like, come on guys, step up, or whatever the reason might be for the pause. While in Heretics, the pauses were much, much, there was maybe 1 to 2 pauses, per game to like kind of reiterate how we're gonna play, and like if you're trolling to say, yo boys, come on, step up. Yeah, but here in Liquid, it's a shit ton of pauses. Not gonna lie on scrims.
Okay. So I then want to look at the sort of like the remaining three players. Obviously, we know that Kiko in theory is moving roles. Camo has come over from Koi, who I think he looked good individually, but the team obviously didn't go great. And Kamek. Now, of those three players, I'm not going to get you to reveal all your strats in the future, but who should people be like the most excited for? Who do you look at and go, okay, people are going to be surprised by how good this guy is?
Heiko and Camo, 100%. Like these two guys, I think Keiko has something to prove, and I think he's in a state of, okay, I'm gonna prove you motherfuckers that I'm actually a good player. And he's been going crazy lately. And I think also Camo has the same thought process. I think he didn't reach his full potential with Koi, because I'm just gonna say it, he didn't have good players around him. So he has a chance in Liquid. So we will see. It's also maybe not added pressure for him, but if he's playing in Liquid right now with the players he has, like he needs to perform, and there's no other way to go around it, right? Like I'm not gonna put pressure on him because he can drop a 10 bomb. Natsuki, me, and Kamek will be there to cover him up,
Yeah.
But I think it's for him personally, like this little ego thing that like, okay, in Koi, I had an opportunity, but I didn't really show what I'm capable. In Liquid, I think he has all of the tools and facilities to do that,
Mm. Well, I wanted to say, like, in the couple of games or couple of maps we saw in the off season from you, you kind of lost in the most liquid fashion ever, which is both overtime games. So
Yep.
it definitely seemed a little bit cursed. I wanted to know from your side, though. Obviously, it's off season. Were you happy, even though you lost? Were you happy with how the game actually went and how the team played?
Yes, I was happy. I was happy because we didn't lose in a way that like we are getting stomped, because we are the
Yeah.
ones stomping. Then we choked,
Mm.
and it showed a lot of not a lot of problems. It showed flaws and problems where they didn't pop up on scrims, right? And that's what the off-season tournament was for, to see how we're gonna behave on stage as a team. Are the comps gonna be hectic? Are we gonna overcome? Are we gonna be, stressing out, doing plays that we are not doing in scrims?
Yeah.
And we lost in a way where we should have won because we trolled.
Mm.
But also the loss helped us become better because we've seen things that we didn't see before. So when we're gonna fix those things, and we're in a good path to do this, yeah, I'm optimistic
Okay.
for everything, for the whole season.
I wanted to then ask, like, I guess, what were the goals that Team Liquid said to you, like, they want to achieve, and how did those align with your own? Like, what do you want to achieve going into 2025?
Um, I want to achieve, like, I want to qualify to every international event. That's what I want to achieve. And then when I qualify to the events, I want to give a good showing of good Valorant. Maybe even winning the tournament, right?
Yeah.
Like it's their Master Champions. But obviously, the end goal for me is to win champions, and I'm gonna do everything to do that. It's always been a goal for me to win champions, and it basically aligns with what Liquid stands for, because they just want the best team in the world, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I want to give them a trophy. I want to give them an international trophy, whether it be Masters or Champions. I want to give them the trophy, and because the org and the team deserves it. So yeah.
Just before we finish, I wanted to ask, who are you excited to, like, play against? Like, is there any team that maybe there's a little bit of bad blood, or maybe just like, hey, these are my guys, I wanna play against them, see if I can beat them?
100% against Heretics. Like there's not gonna be bad blood. There's gonna be only love on the server and outside of the server. And I want to play against Vitality actually. I think they built a fucking super roster,
Yeah.
and I want to see if they're gonna uphold the level that they are trying to show and
Yeah.
uphold. So I want to play against them and see how it's gonna go, because I find the team really interesting. And it might be a complete flop, or it might be a completely insane team that we've never seen before, you know.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to play against them, and obviously Heretics.
Yeah. Well, to finish, I always like to give people the opportunity to sort of say to like the fans. I know Liquid has a big fan base, big expectations. So if you're trying to hype them up for 2025, what is Patitek bringing to next year?
Guys, I'm bringing everything that I bring from Heretics and what I learned. So guys, like remember, be on the lookout for Liquid games. Watch us play because for the past few, I mean maybe 2 years, you didn't have much to watch. But we'll make sure to keep you entertained throughout the entire year and hopefully to bring you guys a trophy home because that's what the org deserves, and especially the fans deserve, because without the fans, it wouldn't be esports, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's my message to everyone. And yeah, keep supporting us. And even if you hate us, I don't give a fuck. You know, I'll still I'll still qualify to an international event, and I'll show you a good Valorant. You know, so just wait for this.
Well, Patitek, you told me I've got until 11. It is 11. So it's been
Yep.
an absolute pleasure chatting with you. And I can't wait to see
Likewise.
you next year.
Thank you for having me, and I'll see you around, guys.
All right,
Oh.
guys. Bye.